So this is Gramey Browne Raw, and I'm here today. I'm talking with someone who I knew as Ives, and I'm someone he knew as Calvin, and then to turn out that we both have different names than what we know each other by. But we're two Statia boys. We grew up partially in Statia. We knew each other from growing up as little boys, and we both grew up to become men. That's what happens with boys. This conversation is to really talk about the inspiration. We're gonna go way back from when we were little boys, as far back as we can remember. And I will say, Ives, as I know you, you'll tell me how far back you can remember growing up. What it is inspired, what inspiration you had, what kind of hopes and dreams that you have.
I think growing up as a little boy, I was more strangely enough, I was into a lot of books. I was doing a lot of reading. I remember studying about the dolphins. I think I was more looking for answers as a little boy. I used to go through the encyclopedia a lot. I remember playing draft with you two before you were even 10 years old.
Did you want to be anything? Let's say first grade, second grade. Did you imagine yourself being a particular thing, or like a police officer or a school teacher?
I think growing up as a little boy, even as a little boy, my main focus was on being a successful entrepreneur.
Okay.
And that is what I am today, and I'm comfortable with what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over the years, because I think way back, I think my first thing I wanted to be was probably a mailman. Because I saw the mailman in his uniform, and I think it was like a brown uniform, like a khaki-ish, with the black stripes. And later on, that changed to police officer. Did you ever change? Did you go through the phases of, okay, you started off here, then it went to that, and then you still went back to the first love, or?
I think because my father was an engineer and architect, I remember him during the governor's house. I worked with him on the governor's house, the primary government's house. And I had a little vision of being an architect for a short while, but that didn't last too long. But that was more from the influence of my father.
Okay. So if you were to talk to, a 10-year-old or even as much as a 6-year-old now, and you want to say, hey, dream big, pursue your dream, pursue your goal, what does that conversation sound like?
Right now, especially as I just wrote a book called regarding astrology, and I understand how our different gifts are allotted to us, I would tell that child to first get to understand his nature, what he likes, what subject he's good at in school, and let that be his guideline as to what he is set out to become as an adult. Take your time and see what your options are. Get to know yourself first. That is what I would tell him.
Okay. Now, there's always, like, let's say you want to become something. Let's say a child say, I want to become a carpenter. When I was in Statia last week, I spoke to a little boy, and he said, I want to become a gamer. And I said, do you want to play the game or games, or you want to write the games?
Okay.
And then I asked two other kids, and then he put up his hand again and he says, I think I want to write the games too. I didn't think he knew that was something that he could possibly be capable of.
Yep.
Now, imagine this boy saying that to a parent, and some parents would say, a gamer, boy, stop your strippiness. What would you say to a kid about his dreams and the belief that he needs to have in himself, regardless of the outside influence that he may face from whether it's parents, teachers, brothers, sisters?
Well, again, I would definitely revert to telling him, understand yourself. What are the things that you like? What things do you like? What subjects you have in school that you don't have to make an effort to study to be good at? All those are guidelines as to what you were born to be, or what you were meant to be. So I would tell him that, to understand yourself.
Okay.
Believe in yourself, but understand yourself.
On my book, on the cover of the page, I have, the only limits in business and life is your imagination and determination to succeed. how much determination did you have? And at what age did you say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do? When did you turn it all off? Because we all have jobs, and you know, we got to leave our jobs. We got to pursue our dream. When did this start happening for you?
Perhaps it could have been from around 12 years old. You know, when you study the reality of life, common sense is the mother of education. So my father was an inspiration to me, who, you know, he barely had a fourth grade education, yet he became an engineer, a builder, government engineer, and he was very successful. He died very successful. He didn't need of anything when he died, but he was self-made. So to me, he was an example of you can be anything or achieve anything, whether or not you reach anywhere academically.
And in terms of that determination to then pursue, because I worked, when I came to St. Martin, I did a bunch of different jobs. And I worked in the casino, and I left a casino job and opened my own business. I've told people before, one of the things that hold back entrepreneurs is the job. Did you had any of that conflict, or did you just go straight into being an entrepreneur?
Wow. I had some very good jobs. I worked in the bank. I was a tax administrator who would send the marshals to you. I work in accounting offices. I left my job to pursue my my own business. So the job to me was holding me back, in my opinion, from being who I was meant to be. But that's because that's my nature. Not everyone's nature can handle the responsibility of providing your own income. Some people need to have it there. And to be honest with you, I look up to you in that same way too. I have a lot of admiration for you. I remember you used to run the ECC. You're someone that makes me very proud. And I'm very
Thank you.
I think we are a lot alike.
Yeah, we are a lot alike. I was taught at the age of 16 that of 5 ways, and I write that in my book also. There's 5 ways where one can increase their chances to succeed. One of those ways I chose, and which was actually also becoming an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And it was go out in the real world, learn as many different things as you can, and between the one you love the most and the one you do the best, put them together, make a business, work hard, save your money, live a good life.
Yep.
If you were to talk to an aspiring entrepreneur now, what would you say to them that you could say, hey, I got one phrase or one sentence or one piece of advice? What would that be?
I would say ultimately what you expect to happen is what will happen. When you can ask for what you want, you can meditate on what you want, but what you expect to happen is what will happen eventually. So I would say find a way to build the expectations and believe in what you want to get. Anything is possible.
And you've been an entrepreneur now for how long?
Wow. Could be the past 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, could about.
And you stepped out from your last job at what age?
I went in and out. I think from as of 2004, I was running my own business while I was working as an accounts payable, for a hotel. And since I left that job, I went back to work for government and then came back. But I always kept my business. I've been on my own since 2004 maybe, but I did go back into work, and then came back out again.
Okay. So basically we're seeing someone who from a young age had that dream, that imagination to be basically self-employed and to go out and basically pursue from his strength and earn from his strength. How do you see now that I would say our education system is telling kids that they have to learn the things that basically puts them in a better chance only to get a job, but not to basically give them the tools where they have either or? Or do you think that is something the person has to have within them, or you think society and the education system is tuning them to being an employee?
I think everyone as an individual can capitalize from the educational system. It has a lot to offer, but it is not the answer. And even though you're working for yourself, you can still be working for yourself. You're still employed because you're working for yourself. So as you get older now, as our age, we look at to let your money work for you. You try to set up in a way where you do not have to work for yourself either. You try to set up business in a way where you don't have to be there. I think that is when you reach the ultimate stage of freedom, when you do not have to work because you arrange for things to be set up in a way where your businesses work for you and you don't work for it anymore.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I went full-time entrepreneur at the age of 23, and I never looked back. And yeah, now I'm retired, and to give back, I want to tell people it is that imagination, it is that determination that you need to have to succeed, because where we come from should not determine where we end up. And we are both examples of that, because we came from a very, very small island, and we left that small island, came to a bigger island,
Yep.
and we succeeded in our dreams and the things that we wanted to become. Last words to the youngsters.
Well, the last words I would say to you is that not everyone was born to be an entrepreneur. You have, this is regards to my books as well, you have cardinal people, you have fixed people, and you have mutable people. Fixed people are the ones who we need to put to carry out our business to make sure it is successful. They're very strong people. Mutable people are the ones who give supportive roles. So find out who you are. Are you the kind of person who was born to go on that limb and create your own path, or were you the one who is to establish, to ensure that someone's path remains before them? Or are you the one to be a supporting role and ensure that everyone stays on the path? So first find out who you are. And if everyone were entrepreneurs, no one would be there to carry out the business for them. We could not retire either if everyone else was entrepreneur like us. So I would say find out who you are, what is your nature, and then you'll be the best of who you were meant to be.
Wow, that was actually beautifully said.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. I may steal a few of those lines that you just said there. It's very good, very good. Okay, so thank you. Okay, in terms of the name, now I grew up. I had a home name, and I had my real name.
Yeah.
My home name was Calvin Browne.
Yeah.
That's what most people in the home circle know me as, but my real name was Gramey Browne.
Never knew that.
And when I came to St. Martin, I used Calvin because of teasing and heckling. I didn't like Gramey.
Oh.
Now I love it
Okay.
because it's a conversation piece
Yes.
to just about everyone.
Yes.
You have a similar thing, except you just told me before we started recording that you literally changed your name.
I edited it.
Explain us that.
I think it's a good thing when you can decide your given names. For example, what my name used to be, in the ones that I changed, used to be Worshipper of Thor,
And that name was?
Makata. And I didn't like it because of what it meant. Your name has to have meanings. Actually, I got my name from my business. It was called that. That was my nickname was being called Mandingo. And when I understood what it meant and who these people were, and I came to understand that I came from these people who were farmers, who were bred in Antigua. Those particular slaves from that part of Africa were bred in Antigua. So I kind of welcomed that name. There were different meanings, pronunciations of the name. One is Mandingo with a K, Mandingo with a G, Mandingo with a K, and even the Mandinka. You have Malinka as well, all mean the same thing. So I chose to keep one of those names that represent the people that I came from.
See, and I've heard of the Mandingo warriors.
That's correct.
Right? So that's the only Mandingo I know. I
Yes.
didn't, connect it all,
They were farmers. They used to plant peanuts and etc. They were specialized in farming. And the strange thing about my father, who was actually born from these people in Antigua, when he came out to station, what I grew up doing was the same thing, farming and planting peanuts. That was our culture that he delved into without even knowing. So I don't know if he got it from his mother, who was the direct ancestry, from these people who lived there in that culture, and then passed it on to him, which is very probable. But that's how he grew up, just like my people.
Okay.
So I love the name, and it means a lot to me.
Okay, so from now on, whenever I see you, I'm going to forget the Ives that I know, and I'm going to go with Mandingo.
Mandinko.
Mandinko.
That's right.
Mandinko.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been a
You're welcome, my
pleasure.
brother.
And yeah. And you can always call me Gramey.
You should go there.
Thank you.